when you're moving from place to place, place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome to the Tobago Updates Morning Show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. Yes, it's a beautiful Monday morning, and as we continue to give God thanks for life, I am Julian Skeet.
And I am Adana Combi. Indeed, it is a good day to give thanks and praise for life. Good morning, viewers. Julian.
Yes.
It's Monday morning.
I know, indeed. And a great weekend at that. I want to say commendations going out to Palm Star Promotions. Certainly having the match championship that took place here over the weekend and coming out victorious, the Signal Hill
Government Primary.
Yes, Signal Hill Government Primary, in terms of kudos and commendations, indeed, Kirani George of Signal Hill Government Primary placing first, and in fact, you'd have also had the second place would have gone to Signal Hill and third to WIM.
Right.
So really kudos and commendations going out there. Students, excellent
right.
Representation, and indeed a continued platform for their growth and development.
That's right. So viewers, we're going to go straight into news in 90 seconds with Tanika Cruikshank.
October 2023. Retired head of the Public Service, Reginald Dumas, expressed dissatisfaction with Tobago's $2.58 million allocation in the 2024 budget. Despite Finance Minister Imbert's claim of a $64.2 million increase from the previous allocations, Dumas found it insufficient for Tobago's development needs, particularly as the majority $2.298 billion was allocated for current re-expenses. Dumas criticized Imbert's condescending endorsement of the THA's policy proposal from its June budget, which included 15 development areas. He expressed concerns about the allocation reflecting a deteriorating relationship between the THA and central government. Several trade unions criticized the 2024 fiscal measure, especially the proposal minimum wage, which deemed it inadequate for citizens' well-being. The unions emphasized the importance of a living wage based on calculation that encompasses basic needs. Nevertheless, they labeled the minimum wage increase as a subsistence wage and found it insufficient, especially with the introduction of property tax, and could result in higher rents. During the House of Representatives debate budget, Caroni Central MP Arnold Ram accused the budget of neglecting youths, citing a 6.7% youth unemployment rate, which was 12% in the previous year. He emphasized that recent data from the Central Statistics Office contradicted the government's claim of supporting youth's potential. Ram also noted that despite the finance minister's praise for low national unemployment rates, youth unemployment has risen from 8.4% in 2015 to 12.1% in 2020. Additionally, he highlighted that in 2023, while national unemployment rate was reported at 3.7% in the second quarter, youth unemployment rates remained high at 6.2%. And that concludes your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you very much there, Tanika, and welcome back, viewers. At this point, we head on into Tobago in Focus. Or just before we go to Tobago in Focus, we're going into our birthday shout-out. And I'm appearing to rush things this morning. We're going into our birthday shout-outs.
And celebrating a belated birthday goes out to Shaquille Jones. Happy belated birthday to you. We hope that you had a beautiful birthday and that you continue to celebrate and enjoy the blessings of God upon your life. Next is Nkesi. I hope I'm saying this correctly. Nikisi. Yes. Thank you, Nikisi Simon. Happy belated birthday to you as well. We hope that you had a good weekend and that you continue your celebrations with thanks and praise to the Most High. Happy birthday to you.
And wishing Nikisi a happy birthday. That's coming from the entire family circle. It's actually Nikisi and her mom, Marilyn Simon,
Right.
on screen with us now, sending birthday shout out. Marilyn Simon would have celebrated just in the late part of last week, and then Nikisi this weekend. So certainly wishing you a birthday shout out coming from the entire Simon family, Laverne, Vern Reyes, Gavin, and the entire team out there, wishing you happy birthday and indeed God's continued blessings.
And of course, we have Gerard Panman Balfour. Happy birthday to you. I'm sure you're having a good celebration today, or whenever the birthday is. Is it today or today? I'm sure that you'd have a beautiful birthday today. We wish you all the best.
And we bounced up at some events over the weekend,
I'm
so I know the celebration has started well. Birthday shout outs to you there, Gerard.
Then we have Celine Skeet. Celine Skeet, we're saying happy birthday to you, coming from all of us here at Tobago Updates Television. We do hope that you have a good and wonderful birthday today.
Yes, cuz wishing you a happy birthday and indeed continued blessings coming from the entire family.
And we round up the birthday celebrations with Shawnee Thompson. Happy birthday, Shawnee, from all of us here at the Tobago Updates Television. We do hope that you enjoy your birthday celebrations.
All right, that's the birthday shout outs going out there. And, you know, in the midst of the celebrations, certainly we also want to take the opportunity to send out some condolences to Rhea Richardson George and the family out there. In fact, today the funeral will take place out in New York, and that's in loving memory of Denny Holdip. The funeral service takes place today from 9 a.m. Out in New York there, and certainly we want to wish Rhea and the entire family continued, in terms of condolences, especially at this challenging time. All right, viewers. Adana, who do we have on our rundown for this morning?
Right, we're having conversations. You know, it's Carnival season in Tobago, so we're having conversations about Tobago Carnival 2023, and we're speaking with Mr. Collis Hazel, the Assistant Commissioner, TTPS, and also Dr. Charleston Summers, who is the Chairman of Tobago Festivals Commission. We're also speaking with John Arnold. Yes, he is the CEO of Tobago Festivals Commission, and we're talking about Blue Food Festival 2023. And of course, we round our conversations up with a representative from the TTPS, Sergeant Joseph Jordan, as we speak about updates, things that has happened over the week and the weekend, and we're talking about demanding money by menace. Right, so that's our conversations for today. So viewers, stay with us as we have these conversations. But for now, we're going to head on over in Tobago in Focus.
The Unemployment Relief Program is not the same one you knew many years ago. Program Coordinator Mr. Nyron Leung gives us insight into the diversification as well as different sectors that exist within the unit.
Well, the URP program, it's a fairly huge, one of the more, I would say, larger units within the THA, right? It is constructed of 6 units, and it falls directly under the Division of Infrastructure, Quarries, and Urban Development, right? The units that makes up the URP are the construction unit, the environmental unit, the Women for Women program, which they would provide janitorial support to over 35 schools in Tobago and other THA offices, right?
He stated, unbeknownst to many, the revenue-generating sectors of URP would have generated over $200,000 in the last World Food Day. These funds were generated over a record-breaking 2 days. Despite naysayers and negative commentary as it relates to URP, Mr. Leung has a vision and several projects to embark on.
The vision 2023 and going forward, right? under the construction sector within, the construction section within the URP, right? We are presently partnering with the Buku Moravian Church, right? They have meted out to the division for assistance in constructing a home for a physically incapacitated couple, right? Both cannot work and they are members of the church, and they have formed themselves into a organization whereby they would seek to bring some kind of relief to this couple, right?
The project, marked as their flagship project, is being met with passion and dedication. Materials will be provided while URP workers will provide the labor. The unit is also embarking on a latrine eradication program along the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection. Leong emphasizes one of the reasons for the URP program is to assist the most vulnerable, socially and economically challenged individuals within the community, and their plan is to make the unit financially sustainable.
25 years of real good dashing food, delicacies, and enjoyment. Well, it come around again as we celebrate 25 years of the Tobago Blue Food Festival. This year promises to entice your taste buds again on Sunday, October 15th at Bloody Bay from as early as 10 a.m. All are invited to the celebration filled with craft, games, but most importantly, blue food. This is a brunch-style celebration and will also see the likes of Super Blue, Nyla Blackman, Preedy, Gerard Balfour, Joe Archer, Keyshawn Jack, and Junior Calypso star The Shay Saul, and more on Sunday, October 15th, 2023. Come celebrate 25 years of the Tobago Blue Food Festival.
We in Tobago for Carnival with the award-winning band Fog Angels, Juve and Mass.
You don't know it's your boy Young Brother representing for Fog Angels, Big Bad, Juve and Mass Band.
2 days of excitement, 2 days of jam on the road with Fog Angels, Juve and Mass Band.
Push back, baby. Push back and Fog Angels, baby.
We're Tobago's premium, all-inclusive Juve and Mass Band that consist of costume, free drinks, free food, goodie bags, makeup artist, t-shirt cut designer, pre-party, after-party on the beach, live DJs, biggest artists, 40-foot music trucks, tight security, VIP service on the road, and a decade of experience.
Fog Angels now. Take bamboo, gal. Fog Angels, Juve band. Take bamboo, gal. Fog Angels, Mass Band.
For your premium all-inclusive packages, check Facebook, Instagram, or visit www.fogangels.com or call 492-9454 or 788-5481. Juve and Mass in Paradise. Play safe, play sexy, play Fog Angels.
Fog Angels make you feel it, feel it.
We are going on a new journey. Tobago now has its very own carnival.
She like loud music and
platinum touch.
Yeah.
Tobago Carnival, Caribbean Vibes presents Tequila Sunset. Tequila Sunset, October 27. Scarborough Esplanade from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. It's a cooler fete like no other. Bring your squad and we'll take care of the vibe with your top TNT and New York DJs, surprise guest artists. Tequila Sunset will be an epic event you will never forget. Early bird tickets are $199 TT or $30 US. Get your tickets online on islandetickets.com or frontlineticketing.com. For more info, call 475-6218 or 754-7344. And New York, 917-561-9742. All drinks must be in plastic bottles and no ice or chaser allowed. Tequila Sunset, October 27th, Scarborough, Esplanade.
Rotisserie, mouth-watering fries, salads, combos, and specials galore. Feeling for something to eat? Come and see. Our rotisserie is seasoned to the T. Kicking chicken, masala, and jerk roast. Crispy fries made from scratch. Who do you know can beat that? Or salads freshly cut and packed. When you taste it, you'll be wanting to come back. So come check us out on number 2 Robinson Street, Uptown Scarborough, Tobago. We open on Saturday nights from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and on Friday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Contact us at 772-7443 and all social media handles at The Rotisserie Factory. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. And yes, folks, we are in October, and any at all, you have to be living under a rock not to know when we hit October month, we're talking Tobago Carnival. All right, and joining us this morning as we continue the conversation as we speak Tobago Carnival, we have in studio with us ACP Collis Hazel of the TTPS and Dr. Charleston Thomas, Chairman of the Tobago Festivals Commission. Good morning to you and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right.
Good morning. Good morning to Tobago.
I should just quickly correct. It's technical advisor.
Right.
Ms. Cindy Lou Edwards is now the chairperson at TFCL.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for the update. So technical advisor for the Division of Tourism joining us here this morning. Well, let's get the conversation started. Tobago Carnival 2023. This is the second execution. Tell us what can we expect in the lineup?
That's to me or to
you, Dr. Charleston Thomas.
Right. Yes. Well, as you said in your opening, it's October, so it's a very packed month. We, of course, have the culmination on the weekend of the 27th to the 29th, where all activities for that weekend are centralized in Scarborough. All right. Rocks Glow happens in Roxborough. So that's in terms of the carnival, the THA-sponsored carnival activities. All right. But of course, we have quite a few fetes, pre-carnival fetes, some of which have happened already, some have yet to come. And for the weekend of the carnival itself, that's the very last weekend, one of the things that people can expect to see would be the festival's ground, something that is, I suppose, akin to that festival's ground in around the savannah, right? But it's a really a newly built out location, right? To capture the event in a particular way. The theme, of course, remains the same as last year, which is ritual, revelry, and release. And the build out of the festival's ground is supposed to capture that theme. So in there, you're supposed to have the Soca Monarch, or our iteration of the Soca Monarch finals. You have some Calypso tents that will happen there. I know that we have a fitness exercise, a carnival fitness workout, which is hyped to be a very big event that happens there. I think the Tuesday before Carnival. Of course, the Legends Weekend, which is another big weekend, which is the weekend before Carnival. That begins with the musical, the Calypso Rose musical. That's a collaboration between TPAC, TFCL, and the University of Toronto, I think. That's where Roma Spencer is at, right? The following night, you have the Tuco Show, which is a collaboration with Tuco and NCC. And it's supposed to be a Legends show integrating the Calypso Monarch into that. And then, of course, the final curtain call Show for David Rudder happens on this Sunday. So that's the Legends Weekend that's supposed to preempt the Carnival festivities. One quick thing I'll say too is that Legends Weekend is we're hoping that it becomes a staple in the Tobago October Carnival, so that next year, that whoever it would be selected to fashion our musical for the first night, there should be a musical, the Tuco Show hopefully lodged in the middle, and another legend to end the show, right? For end the weekend, all right? So we're hoping that becomes a staple. So we also have the kings and queens from this year's Trinidad Carnival participating again, as they did last year, on the roads for the Parade of the Bands. So it's it's expected to be quite a spectacle, I should say, right? And as far as plans are concerned, I mean, we've been working non-stop around the hour, having quite a number of large and small collaborative meetings with wide range of stakeholders. Officer Hazel, ACP Hazel will speak more to that. But there you go, all right? So that's what the weekend is hoping to be, and these are some of the activities lodged in there.
All right, just tell us, just before we go to ACP Hazel, in terms of that determination this year around to have all the activities centered in Scarborough.
So of course we are in the second year, and therefore the carnival is in a very fetal stage. It's still developing, all right? Last year, Juve was in Crown Point. A lot of people enjoyed it, but there were quite a few challenges which forced the division to rethink the management of the activities all on the roads. The other thing that we had to consider was the how to properly utilize the resources of the police. And we wanted to ensure that all the resources that come to the island and that are on the island in terms of security are properly located in a space that is easily controllable. ACP Hazel will speak more to that, all right? So the decision to bring things to Scarborough was largely influenced by the reports myself have looked at over about 10 reports from last year's carnival, and there was a general consensus that the area wasn't properly, that's Crown Point now, wasn't properly set up for that mass of people. The infrastructure was a bit problematic to facilitate that large number of people and trucks. There were, of course, quite a few instances of people not getting access to the airport and whatnot. So there were quite a few challenges which made us rethink how to execute the carnival this year. And I should say that because, again, we are in the second year, there is nothing here that's written in stone. So we're still in a very strategizing position, I would say, right? And therefore, whatever works well this year, I am thinking that it would stretch over into next year. And whatever hasn't worked, right, the post-mortem reports will be done and therefore guide us as to what decisions to be made next year to not repeat errors.
Right. ACP Hazel, you are the man in the hot seat this second time around for the execution of the Tobago October Carnival. Tell us a little bit about the plans of the TTPS. We heard Dr. Thomas make several references to that kind of collaboration happening with the TTPS, of course, as one of many stakeholders within the Tobago space. Tell us a little bit about the plans on the part of the TTPS for the Tobago October Carnival.
Thank you very much. And I would want to say from the onset that the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service Tobago Division, in our meeting with Secretary Tasha Boris and her team, we were very mindful of the trajectory of the Tobago Carnival. You know, we would have had in the past year what we call the Tobago Fest. And our evaluation out of that showed where this event was marred with violence. And therefore, as we brand the Tobago Carnival as a tourism product, we are mindful that this ought to be one that is celebrated without violence. And therefore, in a high order of priority, we are placing significant emphasis on safety with respect to this Tobago Carnival. And hence the reason, as Gold Commander for the event, I have taken my responsibility to include a wide collaboration of stakeholders who will together work with the team of the police in ensuring that we bring safety and security to the event. We're talking about looking with the team involves TEMA, licensing authority, fire, the public health, the taxi association, the port authority, residents of Scarborough, the religious groups, the PAN, REACT, Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force, Band Leaders Association, TNTech, Digicel, TSTT, WASA. All these are important stakeholders that are working with us in ensuring that the event is properly organized and managed. Thus far, these meetings have started, and we are looking, we're not taking anything for chance. We are looking to ensure that we would set up a command center, a command post, in order to manage the event on the day. This year, the carnival is going to be proclaimed for Saturday into Sunday. It ends at 12 on Sunday night. And of course, it will have, as Dr. Charleston mentioned, it will have a series of pre-carnival activities. I checked over about 16 of them that we are paying attention to ensure that our visitors and citizens alike enjoy in peace and harmony as they revel on this part of paradise.
All right. One of the things I'd like you to give some, assurances to people have had some concerns over the period, the area that is going to be focused on. So I don't know whether you or Dr. Thomas would treat that. Where will the central activities be taking place in Scarborough?
Okay, so the route of the carnival, which we will publicize and be posted in the both electronic and printed media, and of course on utilizing social media as well, is that we would be utilizing part of the highway in order to ensure that we have proper coverage of the carnival festivity. So onto Orange Road, go right back to we utilizing all that area. I want to add that in order to treat with some of these issues, of course, there will be some inconveniences, and there's some restriction that will be regulated in order to ensure that we have a smooth procession, so to speak. We have been meeting with some of the stakeholders, such as the religious body. The carnival starts on Saturday, and in Saturday we have some churches, and Sunday we have some churches in town. And of course, we had a meeting with them, and may I say it was a very cordial meeting in which most of the religious bodies agreed that they will have their activity moved out of Scarborough for that particular weekend, and they will be worshiping elsewhere. We are meeting with the residents of Sangsel Hill and all those neighboring communities on Wednesday, so that we engage them as to how they can continue assurances that restrictions will be in place. However, restriction does not debar you from your legitimate movement, and therefore, as of this morning, forms are available for registration of persons who want to do their normal ply of business, that they can come to the ACP office or the senior super office and collect their application forms to apply for permits to be able to operate during those spaces. So I'm talking about the residents of Sangsel Hill, the people, the business communities, all those persons. You need to have a pass to come in town. So therefore, you need to apply to the police in order to be granted a pass. But may I be mindful that the passes will not be given willy-willy all about the place. If you have no business in town at that time, you will not be allowed.
All right. Dr. Thomas, just to bring some clarity, persons would have seen last year the appointment of a committee. Which entity or which individual is taking that lead in this year? We know we heard mentioned by way of the release, speaking to the festivals, a combination, tea park, etc. Tell us,
Yes.
is there going to be a separate carnival committee appointed? Tell us how it's going to work for this year.
So how it has worked is really by simply utilizing the technical staff from the three entities to execute the carnival, because the challenge with the committee last year was that there were several other entities doing similar things as a first year kind of teething problem. So this year it really came out of the secretary's office, the division itself, and the executing teams were all the entities, or are all the entities that we have, which are there mandated to do this kind of work. So TFCL, TTAL, TPAC, and as technical advisor, I had that responsibility to kind of oversee the coordination of things. So that's how this year operated.
Excellent. Anything else you'd like to share before we close this morning?
I heard ACP Hazel talk about the plans that are in place to ensure that we have a safe carnival. I think I also want to emphasize that the carnival in Tobago is something that we want people to experience very differently, meaning that, of course, there is a peculiar product that we want to share, but Tobago is also a space where people come and chill and relax. So all of that is what we are encouraging people to come to Tobago for, not just the actual carnival celebrations, but for the vibes that you might feel at the corners of Tobago where those activities may not be felt.
All right, thank you very much there, Dr. Thomas. ACP Collis Hazel, before we close this morning, anything you'd like, any additional information you'd want to share with the public?
I would just want to remind the public at this point in time that we will be attracting a lot of domestic persons participating in the Carnival festivity. As you are well aware, that our sister Isle Trinidad is the home of persons involved in revelry who supports the activity. And while we are engendering that idea of safety and security, one needs to be cognizant of their surroundings and ensure that we allow people into our spaces who we have knowledge about. Of course, we would want to ensure that as you book people for this event, that keep in contact. If you don't know them or you don't have any information about them, you can feel free to contact our divisional CID office and let us do some work and make sure that who you are bringing into your space is properly vetted, so that at the end of the day, you do not want to ensure that you have a gang leader or some known criminal element in your dwelling. As well, we are asking Tobagonians, do not allow people to be part of the crime apparatus. Most of the times what we are seeing is that Tobagonians are encouraging other persons who commit crime within their spaces and keeping quiet. So therefore, we are pleading with you, please allow these nefarious bandits, as I would want to call them, to be out of the Tobago space. And if you have any information, feel free to share with the police or persons in that area. We are mindful that the Tobago Fest in the past was marred with violence, and we have taken it on as our responsibility to ensure that we return Tobago to that level of tranquil peace and safety from time to time. And therefore, this is an opportunity to ensure that the Tobago Carnival, which is part of the tourism package, is not marred with violence. Taking into consideration that a month after the Carnival, we are welcoming 77 cruise vessels coming to our shores for the cruise ship industry, and therefore we would not want, well, it's not Ash Wednesday, but we don't want to wake up with information from you goodly folks in the press that says a weekend marred with violence. It is all of us responsibility to ensure that Tobago Carnival remains safe, and the police are preparing with all the other stakeholders in ensuring that we create that level of safety and camaraderie while we revel in this part of paradise.
All right, thank you very much there, ACP Collis Hazel and Dr. Charleston Thomas, Technical Advisor at the Division of Tourism there. Certainly as we speak to Tobago Carnival 2023, gentle reminders from certainly our key leads, the Tobago House of Assembly and the TTPS, as part of the overall responsibility for the delivery of our second edition of the Tobago October Carnival 2023. So thank you very much again for joining us here, and we look forward to the continued conversation. And if it hasn't been done already, I trust that the conversations and confirmations are already happening with Caribbean Airlines and the Port Authority. But we'll leave that for another conversation to ensure that our visitors are able to come to the island and enjoy the festivities. Viewers, we want to remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Bad girl from Roxborough, Tobago, body fuego in your day clothes, I rate you. Grew up around good vibes and incense. Grew up in hard times that intense. Shut it as you're reaching at the dance. Use the topic as you're reaching at the dance. My girl, go and drop it as you're reaching at the dance. Making use of your talents when you balance back on the duns. Yes, yes. I know, baby. You want a man who take you serious. Not just beat and leave. You're fed up on the streets. Yes, yes, I know, baby. You want a man who take you serious.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, morning, good morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. I'm Julian Skeet, and as we continue this morning, we are chatting with John Arnold, CEO of the Tobago Festivals Commission, and we're moving away a little bit from Carnival coming up later in the month. Today, we're talking Blue Food Festival happening this weekend. Good morning to you and welcome.
Morning to you, morning to all the viewers, morning to Tobago, Trinidad, and the wider world. Yeah.
All right. So as we in the month of Carnival, but Blue Food has been with us for some time, one of our significant festivals. Just give us a quick backdrop before we head into the specifics of 2023.
Well, I mean, first of all, let me start by saying that if you look at the Carnival calendar, you will see Blue Food as part of the offering. I think that augurs well for, the kind of build-up it should have. Blue Food, why this year is big, it's because it's the 25th anniversary. It's the silver anniversary. This is a very significant time in the history of Tobago that we have a festival that's born in Lansumi, a rural community that expanded to Bloody Bay, Palato Bay, and became the signature event of Northside Tobago. And I think that that's significant for several reasons, that this festival now attracts thousands of persons. It is one of our key festival tourism offering. It's a culinary fest, but really and truly, we have to be very proud of it. And congratulations to all those who have been there from the beginning. And I like to talk about Barrington and Etlin and Jerry and Darlington. Really, really solid community, strengthened by their resolve to make sure this festival gain this kind of ground. So congrats.
All right. Remind us again, when does this festival take place? And usually I know over the years, sometimes there have been shuttle services, there have been variations and so on. Tell us what can we look forward to for 2023?
Well, 2023 doesn't deviate much from what we had before, except that there are more offerings. And also, I have to tell you that the THA is engaged at this time in the construction of a permanent Blue Food Village, which has started. I actually went to look at it on Friday, and the work has started. It won't finish, but next year it would certainly be available. But we're going to use the partial prepared places, and what we have in store, we have over 30 cooks that come from the area. We would have a children's village. We will have a art and craft village. We will have a petting zoo. We'll have entertainment, and the entertainment, of course, involves stars from Tobago and other noteworthy artists from Trinidad. So we have people like Nyla Blackman, Pretty, Super Blue, and then from Tobago we have Gerald Balfour. We have people from the village like Deshaun Saul and Keyshawn Jack and so on. Joanna Archer. All those persons are going to make a part of what we're going to offer that day as really, really good competition with the Dashin, but good entertainment and great ambience. And of course, we hope that the rain gives us a chance to see it.
All right. Tell us, what would you say, one of the significant things, and I know this is very near and dear to the hearts of persons from the north side in terms of that ownership of the Blue Food Festival. How would you say it has really benefited the community over the years?
Oh, I would say in several ways. One, I think the mere fact that the event itself benefits the stakeholders, right? So one of the things is that all the cooks come from the area. The other thing is that the bar, for example, is done on a rotation basis. So one year might be Lansumi, next year it goes to Palato Bay, next year it goes to Bloody Bay, and it starts again. So that has also been something where they use monies for the benefit of the community and for the benefit of the village councils and so on. And beyond that, we have actually seen over the years publication of books by Ms. Chance, Izan. We've also seen where some of the villagers have been able to make orders for blue food flour. all right, or dasheen flour, right? They've been able to get sales with that, and people have been making orders even beyond the Blue Food tag. So I think with the coming of the village, what has to happen now is a proper plan in terms of how you can create a sustainable kind of system that allows the villagers to engage and participate, and persons travel there to have engagement beyond the Blue Food Festival dates.
All right. That I like the concept of the village, because it sounds like I could get a taste of that Blue Food every other week or perhaps once a month, a grand coming
Right.
together
So whatever
before the
model,
culmination.
Yeah.
Before
That's
the
a nice.
culmination. So certainly that would be something to look forward
Yes.
to in the planning process for 23
Yes.
going into
Certainly.
2024.
24.
What we'd like to get some insight as well. We know about the usual competition, building that energy and hype among a number of stakeholders in terms of the Blue Day competition.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about that for this year.
Right. So as I talk about that, I really want persons to go on our website, Tobago Festivals Commission.com. And I think if you can get there, you would see we also have a Blue Talk series that's going on online at Tobago Festivals on any of the platforms, Instagram, Facebook, etc. Which is very interesting, because what we have done is talk to some of the cooks, we have spoken to some of the villagers, we have spoken to restaurant owners and so on, to give their own take on what Blue Food means to them. The Blue Day, which is this Friday, is really a competition for offices and in any area of the THA or ancillary, and how they utilize a theme, and they create a theme around blue and around Blue Food. And then these offices are visited and judged and so on. So far, the response has been really, really good. And as usual, I think that's going to be a nice kind of start to the weekend. And we're hoping that we have the shutter system this year. And obviously, Brother Skeet, I think it's important that people understand there's no way we can host 4,000 cars in that area, 3,000 cars, not even 1,000 cars. So that the shutter, I know people like to know they're near the vehicle, but if you come, you can get a shutter from Palatavere, right?
Right.
You can get a shutter from Bloody Bay, right? And from those coming on the other side from Lansumi, you can also get a shutter from there. So I think, it's just a matter of trying to keep the numbers down, right? The vendors are going to have access, or special invited guests, the workers, those will have access, and we'll have the stickers for all of those. But we really want to see people get really, really, really abide with what the rules are and really use the shuttle service.
All right. And what time does the shuttle service start running from?
We hope to start anytime from 9, 10 in the morning.
Right.
All right. Actually, the show starts at 10, so most likely it will be 9. And remember, we go right up to 7 o'clock in the evening. And it's a free event. I saw some people send me some texts, how much you get in, and I had to tell them, no, it's free. And it's a festival tourism event. Come, enjoy the food, enjoy the moment, share with everybody. I think it's going to be a great day. Rain or no rain.
and it seems like over the years, occasionally there's been rain from time
Occasionally.
to time.
We haven't
but it
seen it
has
for
not
a while,
stopped.
though.
But
But it
I think
hasn't
the only thing
stopped
the rain
me.
stop is cricket.
Yeah.
All right. Certainly something to look forward to, and a reminder to our visitors. It's a free event. It's open to come and really enjoy the festivities. Any other key areas you'd want to highlight before we close this morning?
Yeah, no. Just the fact that the Tobago Festival Commission, I really want to congratulate the team. All right. We have a very hard-working staff that's really dedicated to what we do with festival management. And I really want to thank all of them for the work they've put in to make sure that the Blue Food is a successful festival this year, and that the whole of Tobago, all right, the whole THA, everybody can be proud of this event that is a signature event for Tobago.
Celebrating its 25th anniversary. Contact information, social media handles for those persons wanting to reach
at
out
Tobago
for additional
Festival.
information.
Yeah, at Tobago Festivals.
All right.
We'll send you there. And 639-4441.
All right, excellent. So feel free to connect with Tobago Festivals for any additional information. We're speaking Blue Food, and that's in the lineup to Tobago Carnival 2023. And this year, the Blue Food Festival celebrates 25. So come out and enjoy and be reminded. Certainly, that stood out to me in this conversation and this discussion. Even if everyone and Tobago wanted to facilitate everyone, can't facilitate everyone in the area for parking. So please, let's utilize the shuttle services that are available in terms of ensuring that we have an enjoyable Blue Food Festival 2023. Viewers, we want to thank you for your continued support and for choosing the Tobago Updates morning show, and to remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Mount Pleasant Credit Union Back to School Loan Promotion. Loans up to $15,000. Requirements: job letter and a payslip no more than 1 month old. Utility bill, copy of book list, salary deduction, 10% down payment. For self-employed persons, evidence of income and expenditure. Bank statement, 12 to 18 months. Other supporting document. Promotion ends October 18. Contact us at 639-8375 or 8108, or check us out on www.mpcutobago.com or email us at loan@mpcutobago.com. Mount Pleasant Credit Union's Back to School Loan Promotion. Jimmy's Holiday Resorts has 1, 2, and 3 bedroom, fully self-contained apartments located at the heart of Crown Point. Minutes walk to the popular beaches, restaurants, bars, and the airport. Enjoy our amazing amenities such as fully equipped apartments, complete with Wi-Fi, AC, TV, and a pool, and a mini-mart on the compound. Call 639-8292 or 8929. Jimmy's Holiday Resorts is your family's home away from home.
October will never be better with Tobago Carnival fever. Book your passage and come on over.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates. I am Adana Kambi, as you know, and we are going to have conversations right now with our friends on the TTPS, who usually come to bring us updates as to what is happening in and around Tobago. And we're speaking, of course, with Sergeant Joseph Jordan. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning to you. Good morning to Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning to your viewing and listening audience. Thanks for having me and the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service.
That's right.
This morning.
So, of course, you know, we always want to know what is happening in and around Tobago in our space, because we want to ensure that we are aware of what is happening and what measures are in place to keep us safe.
Well, as we often know, whenever I come to the table, I would provide an update as to what is taking place, right? So our usual statistical aspect. So we were going to look at our January 1st to September 30th, and the 2 years we are comparing 2022 versus 2023. So our serious report crimes in 2022, we had a total of 556 serious report crimes. Whilst in 2023, we'd have recorded 513 serious report crimes. The detection rate for 2023 stands at 34%. However, in 2022, that detection rate would have been 43%. We have seen a decline in our detection rate. However, when compared to the both years, however, we have seen a steady increase of our detection rate throughout the year 2023, because we started in the mid-20s and we are now averaging 34%. There's also a decline in the serious report crimes of 8%. Now, these figures are not just figures just for quoting sake, but it has shown that where the police continue to do their work and working in partnership with the community, we are able to deal with some of the troubling crimes. as it relates to the crimes that have been affecting us most significantly are what we call property crimes. And these crimes and property crimes and general larceny. And the property crimes is basically people stealing stuff, breaking into people homes, whilst whilst general larceny would refer to things like leaving here, as I often use the brush cutter. That is one of our most common things, right? Some of your tools that you may be using lying around. We know that we have had a little challenge with murders in particular. So we recently would have recorded a death of a young lady in the Crown Point district. Now, our murder figure stands at 9 and not 10 as was previously quoted or quoted by some media houses. And that is to say, the suspect in that matter on last Friday was released pending further inquiries. So the DPP office would have given us instructions that that matter needs to go for what we call a coroner or an inquest. And what that simply means is that there was not sufficient evidence to bring the charge of a homicide or a murder. So that will be classified as an unnatural death. So as it relates to our statistics in Tobago, our figure remains at 9 and not 10. I see you are smiling. You have a question. You can go ahead.
Yeah, become an unnatural death. Just a little bit of explanation where that is concerned.
All right. So I will just use a kind of comparison. So where we would have like when we classify things as well, homicides. In homicides, there are a number of classifications ranging from suicide, murder, manslaughter, these things. And unnatural death is one where there is no malice. It was not intentional. It was not deliberate. You didn't have the guilty mind or the guilty conscience to commit the crime. So when these things happen, as a matter of fact, those are some of the ingredients that would bring about the charge of murder and other offenses. So you have to be deliberate in your act, and you have to be deliberate in your mind. You have got to plan it and execute it. So that is when when instances when those two ingredients are not met, we deem these things as unnatural death. And it is further left for the court through a coroner or an inquest to find out if there was any crime really being committed at the point of that offense.
Okay, I take you at your word. We also want to talk about, of course, we're discussing today demanding money by menace.
Yes.
Right? And I mean, it's something that we really have to deal with in our society today. So I want you to tell us exactly what it means, because for some people, we might be trying to figure out demanding money by menace. What exactly does that mean? And what do we do as citizens to prevent ourselves from being, for lack of a better term, bullied into giving up our monies?
Right. And I like your word when you use the word bullied. No, demanding money by menace is actually is actually an offense on our law book. When we look at our Larceny Act, Chapter 11, 12, Section 31, 32, 33, 34 speaks of these things. And in particular, under Section 32, it basically indicates that you are any person who demands or threatens to take money from you or undertake something from you as well, is committing the act of larceny. And that penalty is 5 years. Right? There are other ways that people may threaten to take things from you, whether it be property, cash, and those carry penalties as much as 15 years. Now, I would go to I would use a simple explanation as it relates to the demanding money by menace. We often hear sometimes businesses paying taxes and not legal taxes. So sometimes you're operating within an environment, and the person is and there are entities or the criminal entities within that area say, well, right, the boss, I hear you have a big contract. So you know you had to give you a little something, so 5% of that is mine. So these are the simple terms that defines demanding money by menace. And it happens a lot in our society. Some persons are, and when it do happen, some persons are afraid to come forward. So you operate in your little shop, and ever so often, a man come in and make groceries and he ain't paying. So you might claim a life of protection. But whilst indeed you are afraid, they are instilling fear in you, and you are actually losing out of your profit, because you have every $10 you make, you might have to pay $3 or $4 out of that. And these are some of the things that happens within our society. And in particular, this crime or these instances affect business and persons who are doing contracts.
Yes, and you said it instills fear in you, and it makes you not just fear for your life, but also fear for not even wanting to own or run or operate a business. Because if I am running my business, I'm working hard, right? I'm investing my time and my resources into the operations of my business. I have bills to pay. I have staff to pay. I have to maintain the runnings of the business. And here I am having to give somebody a tax.
Yeah.
Because they are protecting me from whom, right? And what do I do to protect myself from this person who is a menace to my business?
Right. So one of the first things that we would encourage, the first time it happened, you make a report. You come to the police. Let us address it. Because what we find happening is that persons wait so long to address that matter that it becomes a normal part of their operational business. And by that time, there's almost little that you feel that you can do. So one, you need to report it to the police. Another means is that when you have your businesses, you need to have certain safety mechanisms in place. The way you deposit your money. Most importantly, the people that you employ. Because many of the times, the persons who you employ, they will be aware of your cash flow. They may be aware of how your goods and services are being supplied. And they of themselves can operate with outside elements, knowing the time and place in which your goods and services
But
are
how do
being
you intercept that? Because at the same point in time, you can't walk around not trusting anybody.
No.
I mean, so it's very difficult. You know, there must be some other measure that you can put in place, because if I engage somebody in my business, is somebody who I've had conversations with, somebody who I trust, somebody who I've taught the whole operations of the business, so I can, if I want to go on a vacation or a holiday or I have an emergency, I can't be at the business place today or tomorrow, and this person is running the operations. What measures can I put in place to ensure that this person, I might have 90% trust in them, but what do I do for the 10% where I'm thinking they might be doing something, menacing to my business?
Well, as I just said, we may not be able to trust someone 100%, but however, this is where background checks will come into place. You need to know your employee. You need to know everything as much as possible about them, and they must operate within the terms and conditions of your business. So, if you were to go on a vacation, as you indicated, that you should have that person trust to know that they would operate your business in the best way, and it is imperative that we pay attention to the people we employ. Not only doing the background check, because sometimes the background check may not reveal all the information that you want to know about this person. So sometimes you might have to talk to a neighbor, talk to a schoolmate who know the personality of these persons, to avoid these persons being a negative impact on your entity.
And at the same point in time, also you do all these background checks, and this person, they check out quite clear, but then there's some kind of influence that says, hey.
Well, and this is where the aspect of, if we're going back to the main topic, this is where the aspect of demanding money by menace, because you and I in a business. It's your business, right? I'm a good employee, doing well. However, the outside or the negative element of saying, well, you know what, I could get to Miss Combi by going through Sergeant Jordan. So they started threatening me, started make my life uncomfortable. Sometimes they may involve threatening your family. And so now I come in with you now with a story in order. So all these are means and ways in which people can demand money, not only money, but other entities of your business through threats and even indirect threats, I should say, because persons cannot be trusted, and we have to put our trust in somebody to some extent.
I think we need to have a conversation on how do we intercept, because it is something, unfortunately, that exists. It is a culture that seems to be growing. So there must be a conversation about how do we intercept this type of behavior. I know you mentioned earlier reporting it. If somebody comes to you to report it, But do I feel safe after? Because after I reported to the police now goes to the menace. And of course, the menace will be like, I tell you not to go to the police. And so now you feel, you know, your insecurities build even more. You become more uncomfortable. You feel unsafe. So how, you know, we need to discuss how we're going to put things in place to ensure that the proprietor, the business owner, the home owner, that they are safe and comfortable in their property and the things that belong to them.
And it's a holistic approach to your safety. So we're going back to things like the basic safety mechanism, CCTV coverage, as I said, employee background checks. Sometimes we talk about how your business is structured. You do not have all your windows tinted. You create some level of visibility, so that if something has happened within your business, persons from the outside can see. So you need to also be aware as to the security code of your building. Because all these are little things that is going to add value to you securing your premises, avoiding persons threatening you, and becoming in more harmony with your community, your police, and your business community.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking with Sergeant Joseph Jordan. We're talking about demanding money by menace. We're talking about protecting your property and the measures we have to put in place to ensure that we are safe, be your brother's keeper, and watch out for each other. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for staying with us here on the morning show on Tobago Updates. And we are going to go right now over into Tobago Notes. And we ask you to continue view us, because right after Tobago Notes, we're going into Good Morning Tobago, which is GMT. So stay with us and remember to share the live, share the live, share the live. This is Adana Kambi, and we'll see you soon.
Picture this.
He had such a magnificent presence, and his influence over many years has really shaped the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago.
Those words describe Tobago's, and specifically Lekoto's Victor E. Bruce, who was the first local governor of the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago in 1969. Now, listen to this. In 2023, an office was re-established in Tobago where you, yes, you, can visit to lodge complaints in respect of financial services provided by banks and licensed financial institutions. And guess what? The office is housed in the iconic building named after Victor E. Bruce in Market Square, Scarborough. Meaningful, right? That organization is the Office of the Financial Services Ombudsman.
Today is also important because we are opening this office at a time when it is well known that we have some challenges getting between the both islands. And it is actually one of the mandates of the island's government to ensure that we bring a lot more of these services to the Tobago space, which in turn will prevent the need for Tobagonians to journey to Port of Spain to get these services. And so we are happy that the Office of the Financial Services Ombudsman is actually leading the way. We are indeed proud that the Central Bank can come home to Victor E. Bruce in this regard. And I couldn't help, as the governor spoke, about wondering whether Victor E. Bruce himself considered or thought that maybe there will be a day that some of the services of the institution that he was leading for a young nation, a brand new nation, would one day make its way across the shores to his homeland in a building named after him.
We are proud that on this momentous occasion, we are coming back to the roots in a building named after this eminent son of the soil. So I really think this is real, it is symbolic, but it is also grounded in reality.
The Financial Services Ombudsman plays a crucial role in promoting trust and confidence in the financial sector. Our mission is to provide an impartial platform for resolving disputes between consumers and financial service providers.
Services from the Ombudsman will be provided from September 27th and be made available every second and fourth Wednesday in the month from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. free of charge to members of the public.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denasia. Let's go.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. With the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine, I am Candace Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds. Retired head of the Public Service, Reginald Dumas, expressed dissatisfaction with Tobago's $2.58 billion allocation in the 2024 budget. Despite Finance Minister Carl Imbert's claim of a $64.2 million increase from the previous allocation, Dumas found it insufficient for Tobago's developmental needs, particularly as the majority $2.298 billion was allocated for recurrent expenses. Dumas criticized Imbert's condescending endorsement of the THA's policy proposals from its June budget, which included 15 key development areas. He expressed concerns about the allocation reflecting a deteriorating relationship between the THA and the central government. Up next, several trade unions, including the Joint Trade Union Movement and the National Trade Union Center and Federation of Independent Trade Unions and NGOs, criticized the 2024 budget's fiscal measures, especially the proposed minimum wage increase, deeming it inadequate for citizens' well-being. The unions emphasized the importance of a living wage based on calculations that encompass basic needs like food, housing, education, healthcare, transportation, clothing, and other essentials for a decent life. Nevertheless, they labeled the minimum wage increase as a subsistence wage and found it insufficient, especially in the introduction of property tax that could result in higher rents. And finally, during the House of Representatives budget debate, Caroni MP Arnold Ram accused the government of neglecting the youth, citing a 6.7 youth unemployment rate, which was at 12% the previous year. He emphasized that recent data from the Central Statistical Office contradicted the government's claims of supporting youth potential. Ram also noted that despite the finance minister's praise for low national unemployment, youth unemployment had risen from 8.4% in 2015 to 12.1% in 2022. Additionally, he highlighted in 2023, while a national unemployment was reported at 3.7%, in the second quarter, youth unemployment remained high at 6.2%. And that concludes your news in 90 seconds. And of course, viewers, yes, we are continuing the talks on the budget because, well, today budget debate resumes at 10 a.m. in the House today. And we're certainly looking forward to hearing more of what the various ministers have to say about their portfolios in the government and how they are going to take the development of Trinidad and Tobago forward. And I know that there are several ministers that may have some things to say in regards to Tobago or the developmental plans that are for Tobago. So we're going to be looking forward to that coming up very soon, or from today, next few days, and so on. But for this morning, we're being joined right now by Mr. Ashford Jack, the former minority leader in the Tobago House of Assembly. So good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, Candace. Good morning to the viewing public. And let me thank you very much for the opportunity to be able to contribute to this very interesting budget discussion.
Certainly. Now, we've had quite a lot said about just the allocation itself. And I mean, I have to start off by getting your take on the allocation.
Okay, I want to start a little differently, just a little differently, because I think for some reason people think that a budget is just crunching on numbers. But there's a bit more to it than that. And Tobago allocation must be put into perspective in order to arrive at your allocation. And I just want to say that our budget is really your biggest policy statement.
Yes.
That sets out how the government intends to manage for that ensuing period. It also speaks to your short to medium term plans, because a lot of time it set the groundwork for other projects that will last 2 or 3 years. But at least that starts there. And that being said about the biggest policy statement, when you see the 2023 budget, what does it say about the government plan for Tobago? And that we will discuss that in detail. Then there's also the issue where people speaks about the 4.03% of the budget, which is the minimum allocation or expectation. How did we arrive at that? And for those of you who don't know, prior to 1996-97, the Act did not speak to how Tobago should be treated. Mr. Robinson, his wisdom, would have had placed in the Tobago House of Assembly Act number 40 of 1996 a number of things, but one thing that did not need a special majority was to speak to the Dispute Resolution Commission, because as you will well know, there was a special majority required to do lawmaking and stuff, which the then opposition said they would not support. But the Dispute Resolution Commission did not need that majority. And what the Dispute Resolution Commission speaks to is that if Tobago is not satisfied with its allocation, then it can trigger, or either parties can trigger the Dispute Resolution Commission. Mr. Charles, as Chief Secretary, the first Chief Secretary, did trigger the Dispute Resolution Commission in 97. It lasted until 2000. So in 2000, the Dispute Resolution came back with a decision that says, hey, this is what we think is the minimum. But what did they base it on? Because it had to be based on something. It was based on Tobago population size, which at the time was 4.03% of the national population. And therefore, for ease, they said, okay, we base it on that. But there are some other things that we need to take into consideration. Act number 40 of 1996 also speaks to, and I want to read section 43 of Act number 40 of 1996. In considering the estimates as submitted by the Chief Secretary, Cabinet shall give due consideration to the financial and developmental needs of Tobago in context of Trinidad and Tobago, and shall allocate financial resources to Tobago as fairly and as practicable. And in determining what is fair and practicable, the following consideration, among others, shall apply. Physical separation of Tobago by sea from the Trinidad and Tobago distinct identity, isolation from the principal national growth centers, absence of the multiplier effects of expenditure and investment, private and public, made in Trinidad, restricted opportunity for employment and career fulfillment, impracticability of participation by the residents of Tobago in the major educational, cultural, sporting facilities located in Trinidad.
Yes.
So apart from the population size, it wanted you to speak to the disadvantage Tobago has and not only new disadvantage, but the traditional disadvantage that Tobago had when all the major development take place in Trinidad.
So coming back to then this...
The question then is,
yes,
did this budget reflect these?
Yes.
And so let's disaggregate the budget. The Tobago had, as I said, about a $50-something million increase. And I'm hearing people touting an increase, but is it real or is it artificial? And so let's deal with that. We had an increase in allocation as it relates to the recurrent expenditure. The recurrent expenditure had to have been increased for a number of reasons. The price of a number of utilities have gone up, or is projected to go up. The 10% increase in the electricity rate, stuff like that, that have to be funded. The 4% increase in salaries in a number of areas have to be funded. The back pay that goes with that have to be funded. And so these are decisions not taken by the Tobago House of Assembly, but taken by the government. And therefore the government have to fund their decisions. Let's do the other, the development expenditure. Tobago development expenditure was cut by $36 million. It was already low in 2022, but now you have cut an additional $36 million. And there are a number of reasons why that is concerning. Because if you you give 264 down from 300, there are a number of other cuts that doesn't look, you don't see it on the surface what's there. Yes. For example, if you have to hire staff to do development, which you have to, then there's another 4% cut in your allocation compared to last year. So you're talking about another, about $10 million cut. So your real spend have now gone down by another $10 million. So that is a $46 million cut.
And then from my information, that part of that $64 million, a good chunk of that, I think 40-something, is to pay gratuity and some back pay for teachers.
Well, I was coming to that.
Yeah.
So then all those are in that. And then you have a situation where the Assembly, when it took over office in 2021, had an outstanding debt of just over $1 billion.
Yes.
And of course, this debt was made by another administration. And I am sometimes tempted to believe, and not sometimes, I'm tempted to believe that the administration had the blessing of the central government to make these bills in the hope that they will return to office and say, okay, once we return to office, we're going to take care of it. But that did not happen. So this new administration is saddled with $1 billion debt with contractors who need the money. And of course, the person who owes them is the Tobago House of Assembly. And so they don't the Tobago House of Assembly through it, but then there need to be some coming together of the contractors and the Assembly to pressure the government to fund that outstanding balance that I am sure had some concurrence in chalking up, because in the year before the election, the Assembly would have chalked up about, between the January election and the December election, about $600 or $700 million hustling to do projects. And I'm not saying the projects was not a good thing to have done, but the thing is, how was it to be funded? And up to now, we see the downside of that.
And there was no plan laid out at that point in time as to how we would ensure that, knowing that you only get, let me say, about $600 million or less sometimes for developmental.
No, we've never had $600 million. I mean, last year was 300, this year is 264. Let's compare that to what have happened in Trinidad. I'm not even looking at the whole Trinidad budget, but let's look at one project, a car park, for $160 million. $100 million less than the entire Tobago development budget. And so when you're talking about looking at, and that's why I had to read Section 43, because Section 43 sets out what is supposed to be a common sense approach to allocation. But I think in taking that into consideration, there are a number of things that we have to look at as spin-offs. At the same time that we are arguing about that and looking at a dwindling allocation for development, we are seeing that the government have borrowed in the last 8 years $150 billion to do projects in Trinidad and Tobago. They have taken from the Heritage and Stabilization Fund another $1.9 billion. So that's about 13 billion TT. So you're talking about in the vicinity of $663 billion to do additional development. The question is, was that to fund the budget or is that to do other development? The majority of that is to do other development. If that is so, let's even look at the principle of the 4%. If Tobago got 4% of that, then you're talking about 6 point something, nearly $7 billion to fund Tobago development. We know that did not happen. And so what you're having is a widening of the gulf in terms of development between Tobago and Trinidad, whereas Tobago is historically underfunded. Trinidad have more than enough money to fund their development, the Toco Highway, the Point 14 Highway, you name them. You know, and one might say, okay, when there's the airport in Tobago, fine. What is the cost of that? Does that cover the 7 point something billion dollars difference? You know, so those things, as Tobagonians, and I think people need to get away from the politics of the moment and look at where it leaves Tobago in terms of its development and our future, children, that kind of stuff.
And we're going to get a bit more into that conversation, but we got to take a quick break. So viewers, please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The energy filled the sky. 25 years of real good dashing food, delicacies, and enjoyment. Well, it come around again as we celebrate 25 years of the Tobago Blue Food Festival. This year promises to entice your taste buds again on Sunday, October 15th at Bloody Bay from as early as 10 a.m. All are invited to the celebration filled with craft, games, but most importantly, blue food. This is a brunch-style celebration and will also see the likes of Super Blue, Nyla Blackman, Pretty, Gerard Balfour, Joe Archer, Keyshawn Jack, and Junior Calypso star, The Shay Saul, and more on Sunday, October 15th, 2023. Come celebrate 25 years of the Tobago Blue Food Festival.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Right now, Tobagonians are just currying down to Bonaccord, right in Stobie Local Road. You know why? To come down and shop at Authentic Builders General Hardware, the only hardware store in Tobago that is giving you guys Trinidad prices. So for instance, such as steel, 1/2 and 5/8, $7,895. 5/8 construction ply for $260. Every single thing that you will need to do your home renovation or start your new construction, we have it right here. And to get your quotation, it's very easy. Just WhatsApp us at 272-1990 and we will do your free WhatsApp quotation for you.
Back to Good Morning Tobago. On Tobago Updates, viewers, we are continuing our conversation this morning with former minority leader Mr. Ashford Jack as we discuss some of the things that were coming out of the budget. Now, I want to move slightly away from the specific Tobago allocation, but to deal with something that very much affects the way we do business, where the economy runs and everything like that in Tobago, and that has to do with foreign exchange. And I bring this point up because the minister did make a few mention of a few things in the budget, stating that, you know, for businesses, there would be a facility set up. And this is, of course, coming on the heels of some banks taking the decision to reduce the amount that people can use their credit cards for on international transactions because there is a shortage of foreign exchange in the country. But on the flip side, we see a budget that even though it had the word diversification in its theme, the budget does not focus on diversification. It remains reliant on the energy sector, and is not really treating with the different ways that we can generate revenue from other areas. So, Mr. Jack, I mean, so one thing that the minister did not treat with is that we had a lot of foreign exchange coming into the country, but we didn't see anywhere where it went.
No,
any accountability where that was
That's
concerned.
easy, you know. If you want to see where our foreign exchange goes, look at the drug trade. The drugs are only sold in US dollars. Yet we have more drugs coming into the country than before.
Mm-hmm.
And yet businesses have less access to foreign exchange. So we know that there's an underground trade going somewhere, and that a lot of foreign exchange goes through that. But if the minister is serious about foreign exchange, I found it laughable that you actually ignored Tobago request for money.
Yes.
Totally ignored it.
In fact, he wished you luck.
Oh, no, I'm just about to say that. And then smirkingly said to Tobago, I know you want all these things, but good luck. Show me one project that have been proposed by the Tobago House of Assembly that the minister funded. Not one. And so there's an argument taking place by a couple of companies in Tobago. Tobago did set up a lot of companies, but I don't know if they were set up to make money. TATCO is one of them. Spell is another one. There are a number of those that need to be reviewed. I'm looking on with interest as TATCO attempt to revamp and to bring a new kind of leadership and stuff to their company. And my question to everyone in this island is, show me one company in Tobago that made money from the day it was set up to today. You have a dwindling real budget. Yet you're telling me that I must be able to fund all these companies that are losing money. Where does the money come from to do that? I looked at the agricultural sector, and I know, of course, which TATCO falls under. And I noticed that not one project as outlined by the Division of Agriculture was funded in this budget, not one. TATCO is in the red. And so what I've saved TATCO a bit this year, in the last year, is they're bringing back on stream the capital project that has been down for 5 years.
And that's actually been bringing in foreign exchange.
Exactly. And so I know that they want to buy additional vessels because they want to increase the fleet for fishing. Was that funded? Not a cent. But yet, what had happened when the original TATCO was set up is all the companies, 3 or 4 companies, was just dumped into one. And therefore, anybody who understands business will know at some point you had to review it. I'm hoping that the review will take place in such a way that it doesn't disadvantage too many people. But there are some people that are going to be disadvantaged, but I'm hoping that at the very minimum will be disadvantaged. And that it is set up in such a way to make money, so that when it makes money, it could help to fund some of the other developmental needs of Tobago. Yeah. Similarly, SPEL, which I happen to be chairman of, in taking over the chairmanship of SPEL, I was blown out of the water by the inefficiency of the company. And the inefficiencies of the companies now are forcing us to do some stuff that we have to cut back. We have to look at how we do management, because the management there was non-existent. We also need to look at how we spend, because as a result of a lack of foreign exchange, we have to go through companies in Trinidad which increase their price by as much as 100 150% by the time it comes to us. Whereas if we had our own foreign exchange, we could have gone directly to the dealers in wherever, France in case of Nordberg, the United States in the case of Cedar Rapids. And we could have purchased these parts ourselves. I would have paid the same price that the people in Trinidad are paying. But in our case, we have to now go through.
And I mean, just as a setup, to bring a little bit more understanding, you need a foreign exchange to purchase the equipment to be able to produce more, to bring in
foreign exchange, and that was coming to, you know. And the thing about that is that once you do that, you will save money. So Spell will save money by paying about 50 or 60% of what it's paying today for a lot of the parts. But Spell had a loan that was a two-part loan, part US, part TT. We are almost finished paying our TT part of the loan. It's a loan I met there, and but it matures in November.
Yeah.
But for more than 2 years, FCB have refused to give Spell any money, to pay the 6,000 or 7,000 US on the US part of the loan.
And then how was that now affected the business of Spell?
Of course. So now we have a situation where the repayments on the loan at the end of November should be 150,000 US dollars. We have a 20,000 US dollars penalty for late payment of the loan. But the only way we can get foreign exchange is if we have an export license, so we could export something that is in demand all over. We also want to find ourselves in a position we can buy a new plant called for foreign exchange in order to, and we will be able to be a net earner of foreign exchange for Trinidad and Tobago. So Tobago wouldn't have to depend us heavily on the foreign exchange coming in from the energy sector in Trinidad for our foreign exchange. And all we are saying is that, and that's why I started off by talking about the budget being a policy statement as to where you want to take an island or a country. And in this case, we are seeing clearly that there is no plans to allow Tobago to free itself in order to become self-sufficient, even in the areas that people are knocking your door down to become self-sufficient in. People are saying, we want to buy material, we want to do this. But in order to do the basic thing to set it up, you're waiting for months for a blasting license, you're waiting for months for a mining license, you're waiting for years for an export license. And these things will help the country, but it also makes Tobago a lot more self-sufficient. But what does that do? If that happens, it takes away the argument from Trinidad that Trinidad is funding Tobago, because it gives Tobago a new lease, a new sense of independence. And when you look at the number of other things, you know, development sometimes acts like a rolling article down a hill. It picks up everything as it goes. So once you get the ball rolling, there are going to be other opportunities that present themselves that bring foreign exchange and do a number of stuff. The downstream that we're looking at, there are a number of things that we can do in Tobago, but it needs that initial injection of capital, and we become over time less dependent. Then there's another situation that another mention have been made of, and it's back to the energy sector. Tobago, the gas finds outside of Tobago is in the vicinity of 3-point-something trillion with a T cubic meters of gas, right? Nobody is saying how that is going to benefit Tobago, because we're hearing the argument, well, it's Trinidad and Tobago. And so there's a Ministry of Energy in Trinidad. Could you imagine if it was the opposite?
I mean, and technically, the argument could be said that even if Tobago gets 1% of that.
I said, you know, in pointing out my direction, I'm saying, gas is sold in US dollars. Let's say that you're getting sometimes four something US, but put your big meter. Take into consideration development costs and all that. And we in Tobago probably have been too kind. And I just want to continue along the kind road. And we said, okay, let's say it's $4. So it's about $26, $27.
Yeah.
Give us $1. $1. It means that over the 30 or so years that this contract is in place, Tobago will end up with about $3.4 trillion. And somebody say, well, a lot. No, is it too much to ask? It's ours. The gas finds in our space. And we are saying, yes, all we want, we take into consideration the development costs, we take all that. Give us $1 TT of that. But it also says to me, what is happening in terms of training and all that? How many Tobagonians are being prepared? Is the Tobago Assembly sent a list of what kind of skills would be needed so that they can start to prepare young Tobagonians? Because you're going to have a social problem. The social problem will come from people seeing either the pipeline go down the road or tankers going down the road, and Tobagonians are in the same place that it was before the trillions of dollars of gas were extracted from its space.
Yes.
And I've said this before, but it is worth repeating. The real reason for the building of the road into Toku and for the port in Toku has nothing to do with Trinidad. It has to do with the gas that they intend to put down the facilities in Trinidad that will then feed onto the platforms. Those platforms, a lot of food, a lot of water, and a lot of things goes onto those platforms. And if you don't have the necessary facility to be going to the ports, it means have to be taken from somewhere.
Yeah.
The question is, would there be a plant in Toku that takes the gas from Tobago and to then go to international? You know, so all those things. And while that is happening, we're arguing with each other about if you had 300 million last year, what you do with it? When you look at the people have to understand, when somebody allocates 160 million for a car park, they understand, hey, this is going to be costly. When for that, the traffic changes at Valentine, what do you call the country? Nearly $1 billion?
Yeah.
I didn't hear us arguing about that. But when you look at a number of things happening in Tobago, Tobago have been traditionally underfunded prior to...
Actually, the only major project that's being funded in Tobago is at airport.
At airport.
And funny enough, I made I made a point is that you're spending, you allocated $400 million for the airport construction in Tobago for it to be completed, but it's actually more than what Tobago got on a whole for its developmental budget.
Everything else put together.
Yeah.
And it's because you are controlling the development of the airport. The THA can't even go on the airport. And yet the law says that airports and seaports are the responsibility of the Tobago Assembly. You know, but you have to look good. So you say, okay, I as minister have responsibility for the airport because I think that falls under the Ministry of Finance. I have responsibility for it. My government, I have to have something to boast about when the next election comes around. So I'm making sure that it gets funded, and I'm funding this to the tune of $136 million, more than the rest of Tobago's development. I mean, something is wrong with that. The thinking is warped. And then you smokingly tell Tobagonians, good luck.
And then, I mean, there's also the thing where, you know, tourism, I mean, we see the success. It's not that we haven't seen the success. We see the success of tourism and the potential of tourism, and how that could even complement the energy industry we have and the manufacturing industry we have in both islands. But yet we continue to fail to put money or investment behind it from a governmental standpoint.
Candice, I think you're peeping. You know, interestingly, I want to come to this issue. We have a situation where there are thousands of Trinidadians every day looking to come to Tobago, especially on the weekends, long weekends. They can't get a flight. Yet you're telling Tobago, do better in tourism. Every means of entering Tobago is controlled by Trinidad. The boat is controlled out of Port of Spain. The planes are controlled out of Port of Spain. So we have no say. But let me tell you how you know people are not genuine. Look around the Caribbean for all the carnivals that have taken place around the Carnival, or around the Caribbean this year. Caribbean Airlines had a common theme, welcome home.
Yes.
And they did additional flights. They did all kinds of things for, even for the Guyana for the cricket. They call it a cricket carnival or something like that. Additional flights to go to Guyana, to Barbados, to St. Lucia. St. Kitts and Nevis now have flights out of. But you're cutting back on the number of flights. You have cut back on the number of flights in Tobago. But you want Tobago to compete with those areas that you are taking the resources from that should be pumped into Tobago. Because tourism jumpstart is not as simple as people think. It calls for a lot of spending. To advertise internationally is US dollars or pounds or euros, as the case may be. Conferences are extremely expensive, but you have to go in order to meet with people. There's the airport that you need to bring in flights, and in the case of the Caribbean, only 2 islands in the Caribbean doesn't pay for flights. That is Jamaica and Trinidad. Everybody else have to help the airlines. But yet there's no allocation for that. And in fact, TTL budget has been cut by about either $3 or so million. Wow. Right? So everywhere you see Tobago can make an impact that if when settled, that is, the allocation has been reduced. And it makes me wonder if this is not a deliberate attempt to keep Tobago dependent.
And well, that's unfortunately the point where we'll have to leave our conversation this morning because we are unfortunately out of time. But I want to thank you so much, Mr. Jack, for being here with us and for being able to put some of those numbers into perspective, because it isn't just about the numbers, but it's also about the policies and the plans going forward and how we are going to take the development of both Trinidad and Tobago forward. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Alvin.
All right, viewers, so please don't go anywhere. Got a lot more coming up for you on the program. So we'll see you after the break.
The energy fill the skies. I say thanks a favor to wake up and hear my neighbor.
So your car break down.
Oh, no, not again.
And you're worried paying a wrecker could mean a pocket breakdown too. But when you're insured with Tatil, no stress.
Yes!
A Tatil motor policy has lots of benefits that protect your pocket, like free roadside assistance. That's free 24/7 every time, as many times as you need. Tatil, where people are people. A member of the Ansa McCall Group.
25 years of real good dashing food, delicacies, and enjoyment. Well, it come around again as we celebrate 25 years of the Tobago Blue Food Festival. This year promises to entice your taste buds again on Sunday, October 15th at Bloody Bay from as early as 10 a.m. All are invited to the celebration filled with craft, games, but most importantly, blue food. This is a brunch-style celebration and will also see the likes of Super Blue, Nyla Blackman, Pretty, Gerard Balfour, Joe Archer, Keyshawn Jack, and Junior Calypso star, The Shay Saul, and more on Sunday, October 15th, 2023. Come celebrate 25 years of the Tobago Blue Food Festival.
October will never be better with Tobago Carnival fever. Okay, passage and come on over.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denise.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, we are now being joined by Mr. Ricardo Bob, and he is the Public Inspector for out of the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection. Good morning and welcome to you. How are you doing?
Good morning. I am wonderful.
Great. And this morning we are talking about food badge applications because it's a new year. Well, I'm just
financially.
Financially, it's a new year. Yeah. So you've got to, if you're in the food business, especially if you're hoping to make sure that you are set in place for the Tobago Carnival, to be a vendor and so on, you need to make sure that your stuff is in order. So, Mr. Bob.
Oh, yeah, that's right. One of the things that human beings need is food. As a matter of fact, I think probably third, air, water, we need food.
Yes.
But the thing about it is that we live in an environment where we have all kinds of living things that love food as well. So not only we want food, the microbes want food. And sometimes they cause problems. So there are safety practices, health and safety practices that people must understand. And one of the things is that the economy of the day require that you have education, because if you have education, then we could do things right. We're living in a world where we can't see those microbes. They're so small we can't see, but there are things we could do to, put a little dent in them so we don't have problems, because some of them can cause sickness. We call them pathogenic organisms. So part of the process is to educate folks and to ensure that they are certified to be food handlers, to protect public health. We go out, we enjoy ourselves, but we want to have something to eat. And we want to ensure that nobody gets sick because they consume something that some vendor prepared because they are careless,
So what are the consequences if you decide to just go and set up a hot dog stand and you do not have your food badge?
Well, number one, we normally do the festivals, and in the past, we have had to ask people to cease operations. And when we meet conditions that are not favorable to food handling and safe food handling practices, then sometimes we would have had to remove the food as well. So those are some of the things that can happen. And it doesn't make sense you investing all this money to make some money, and then you have to have your food removed. So it's best to do the correct thing. Yeah.
And part of the correct thing is being educated every year about the need to handle food properly.
Yes. So the process for becoming a registered food handler is that you must have health education. You must have a current food badge. Now, even though we say the food badge is for a calendar year, but the carnival is coming up and other blue food activities. And some people want to capitalize on those activities. So we do sessions every Thursday. We have an appointment system and we do sessions every Thursday. So people can become registered food handlers. And what they need is 2 passport size photographs, medical, because we actually give them, there's a medical form that they take to the doctor to be evaluated. And the cost is the cheapest in the country. It's only $20. In other jurisdictions, it's $75. So no food handler in Tobago would have any reason not to get their food badge, because you're only paying $20. It's not even a percentage of what you're going to make. And you get the food badge on the same day. Beautifully, you get it on the same day. You do the health education, and once you have been doing this, then it should be like clockwork. Health practices actually should be second nature, because it's simple things. Your own hygiene, your personal hygiene, and then of course keeping the food safe. Hot food's hot, cold food's cold. Making sure you keep it away from flies and dust and these things, because the philosophy that we have is if you're not prepared to eat the food you prepared, then you shouldn't really serve it to anybody, because you don't want to go back someplace and you have something to eat and you get sick. So then you should protect the health of those that you serve.
Over the years of doing this annually, have you noticed an increase or an improvement, I should say, in the way how people are handling food?
Definitely, especially this year. We have registered over 5,000 food handlers already.
In Tobago?
In Tobago.
Wow.
Yes, over 5,000. And in the next couple of weeks, we will probably do a couple hundred. Usually on a day, we do sometimes close to 200 food handlers. We have this week is a special week because we have had to bring forward the session from Thursday 12th to Wednesday 11th, because we have a special training session for all public health inspectors from CAFA. That's the Caribbean Public Health Agency. So one of the things that we're doing is outbreak investigation, because we are equipping ourselves to become, really cutting edge. So the session for this week, if you have an appointment for this week, then it's not going to be on Thursday 12th. It's been brought forward to Wednesday 11th. Same venue, same time.
Great.
Yeah.
And so how can people get in touch with you, or can people become involved? So let's just say that there are some people that are listening right now and they're not quite aware that you need a food badge.
All
You
right.
know, if they're living under a rock.
All right. So once you're preparing food for public consumption, for sale, then you should be a registered food handler. So you're going to sell sauce, you're going to sell corn, you're going to sell fish, you're going to sell hot dog, you're going to sell sweetie, you're going to sell chewing gum. All these are considered food. Food by
Even if they're prepackaged.
even if they're prepackaged.
Okay.
Whether you're preparing it or not, once it's food prepared for human consumption, then you must be a registered food handler.
Hmm. And drinks as well.
Oh yes, food. Food is anything solid or liquid, cooked or uncooked, that we consume to provide us with nutrients. Now, some of the things in that category, everybody may not agree. People may not agree that chewing gum is food, but yes, it is. Yeah. So you must have a food badge.
And you know, if someone is caught without a food badge, and you know they're told to cease and so on, and then they continue going forward selling food, setting up stands without getting the food badge and whatnot, you know, what is there further action that can be taken?
There is. We can, the police have more jurisdiction than us. So we can get the police involved. Yes, and usually at the festivals especially, we do have police officers, and we work together to ensure that the health and safety of the public is protected.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, of course, one reason why it becomes so important, you mentioned microbes and so on. A lot of people don't know that it within 20 minutes, bacteria multiplies twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so every 20 minutes, those bacteria multiply in 2 times as much.
That's right.
So I wanted you to speak a little bit about that, and then how that affects the quality of the food that are consumed by people.
All right, so that is important. They multiply by what we call geometric progression. So it's not like you and I, we could only produce one offspring in 9 months. So if you start with 1, in 20 minutes you'll have 2. In 40 minutes you're going to have 4, not 3. And from 4 you get 16, and so on. So within an hour, but you don't usually start with 1. So for example, just on your thumb here, we'll have about 1,000. So could you imagine your hand and your skin?
Mm-hmm.
And 2 of the most important ones of economic importance that we see a lot is like Staphylococcus, Salmonella. You know, staph is on everybody's skin. So we shed. Everybody's talking on their phone, you know, your hair, the dust and so on. So you have the microbes that can multiply in the food and can cause a problem, or multiply in you, and then you have some of them produce toxins. So they cause what we call an intoxication. And the toxins are not destroyed by cooking. So for example, if you cook food well enough, you will destroy salmonella. But if you, let's say you have staphylococcus, that produces a toxin. Cooking the food will not destroy the toxin. So the food still looks good, smells good, tastes great. You cannot recognize infection in food by simply looking.
And what can that cause?
Well, bad case of foodborne illness. All right, so you're talking about the cramps, the diarrhea, and those kinds of things, which is very debilitating and can take away from a wonderful experience that a person may have.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you have a nice time, you know, you go to the wedding, you go to the festival. Oh, it was nice, but then when you get home, some people have actually had to be hospitalized, and we have actually had, sometimes people may die because of foodborne illness.
So it's very important.
Very important.
And so, and how can people, what are the contact details and so on for people to get in touch and make sure that they do the necessary to apply for the food badge?
All right, so our main number is 639-1433. You can call that number, and there will be someone there to assist, to give you all the details. Mm-hmm. When you're making the appointment, remember you need to collect the package. The package will tell you what you need, and you'll get the form to take to your doctor. Normally, the medical form, within 14 days, you get your medical, because lots of things can happen to a person. In the past, we used to say 3 months, but nowadays, you know, you have to be so mindful. So we take every precaution to ensure that when people come, they get the correct information. Now, there are lots of people who also, they love to look, ladies like to look nice. So just a few tips, take the nails off, no nail polish, take the jewelry off, make sure you restrain the hair. And of course, your attire, as we say, pom-pom shorts and, all those things. We want you to be well covered. You must not be a source of microbes, because if your hygiene principle starts with you, and if you clean, you minimize the probability that you may transfer microbes into the food. The hand washing is always important. Talking over the food, people, sometimes you get a spray, you need to avoid those things. And remember that the customer has a right to expect excellence from you, because the money is in their pocket before it gets in yours. And the truth is, the food business thrives on happy returning customers. If they're not happy, they're not going to return. And the one who's going to suffer is you.
Certainly.
Yeah.
All right, I want to thank you so much, Mr. Bob, and viewers. Yes, if you are out there and you are wanting to, make a little extra money over the carnival season, or even coming up to Christmas and so on, gotta make sure you have your food badge. So make sure you get connected, make sure you do the necessary to get your food badge so that all of us can remain here safe.
Thank you. Yeah,
all right. Well, viewers, thank you so much for being here with us and for joining us this morning. It was a pleasure being with you, and I hope you have a safe and wonderful day. Don't forget you have brunch coming up at 10 a.m., so you're going to want to get connected for that. See you then.
60,000 people strong.